Good morning, everyone. This is Back Garden Reads. Today, we're talking about the little pocket edition book of The Art of Peace, a Shambhala Pocket Classics philosophy of Morihei Ueshiba. Morihei Ueshiba was a practitioner of Akido, and you know, I believe it was in. There's a character in Baki who uses Aikido, or maybe he just uses Judo. I don't know. One reason why I want to talk about this is that one, I'm going to do a whole load of shorts on some of the things that he says, that Morihei says, right? And I suppose this is a little bit more different in the way videos go, because this is going to be more talking about myself rather than the actual little book itself. I've always kind of struggled in ever since I was a young guy, for a long time. I'd say most of my life at this point. At least back into when I was about 7 years old, even. And I've just had this lots of ups and downs in my moods and my ideas. Been depressed for quite a few times. I just really felt absolutely rotten about myself. Thinking I was a failure, that I was useless, that I was a burden, that just all sorts of things, right? And I remember there was even a point when life was so low with me that I was I was really about ready to just check out early, if you will. You know, go for a little tumble over a cliff. It was definitely my lowest point in life, and it's something that I really wish, and I hope I never get back to. I've already told my friends and some of my family that, right? Like my low point, like where I was so close to just ending it. And so this is definitely a heavy topic, and it's, and I don't even care if this doesn't even do well in YouTube. I just want to kind of get this off my chest. Yeah, it's like recently, this whole flood of self-defeating thoughts just bombarded me all at once. It didn't help that someone just like grabbed me by the throat, and it was the very first time I ever felt so vulnerable because this guy was like, oh my god, he was like 7 inches taller than me, and I hope I don't have to explain how terrifying that is to have some some anemic, hairless Sasquatch just grabbing you by the throat with these massive fuck off hands that felt like just one hand could just wrap around my entire neck. It was honestly one of the it was and I thought I could trust this guy. That was one of the worst parts. And the whole time he was just berating me after, like, during and afterwards. And well, I couldn't do anything because it left no marks, you know. And it was also just his word versus mine, and nothing can happen with that. It's just but yeah, after that guy left and I was out, we were separate ways. I kind of just broke down, and there was the just flood of thoughts of me being useless and all this, and just feeling like less than a worm at that point, like something absolutely shriveled and pathetic, and just I like I just didn't want to feel like a burden to people. But I was pulled back from that. Thank goodness I was pulled back from that, because oh god, like even now it's still hard to speak of. I honestly do wish it never happened, but it's the way it is. But I do remember when I was ready to take the tumble, as it were, over the cliff. I just sat down for a moment, and I was gonna take in my last sunrise, right? And partly leading up to that, it was just I felt so alone. I I had been living in a new country for 2 years at this point, almost free, and I just felt so alone. I felt so isolated. I even though that I had family nearby, I just felt so alone. I felt like, oh God, is this my life? If this is just my life, I just want to, yeah, like, yeah, and I just sat down, ready to see my last sunrise when I um, I found this in my pocket. And you see, like I had this. I actually bought this like a couple months before that event, right? And I just happened to have that on the day. Just happened to just bring this in my pocket, right? I don't know why. I I I honestly don't know why. But at that point, I just opened it up and I just flicked to a page and I just read. I just read a little bit and something something of what I don't remember which page it was, but it just made me pause. And so I read a different passage, a different little saying, another saying, and another saying, and it kind of put things in a new perspective. And it was a perspective that really saved me, I suppose. Because afterwards, after just a few little pages, I looked up and I saw one of the most beautiful sunrises I had ever seen at that point. It was like these shades of pinks, yellows, oranges, just magnificent. Like the clouds were just. It felt like I was experiencing a painting, like for the first time in my life, like like a true painting. Like there was some cosmic thing that was just communicating itself to me at that moment. I know that not everyone's into, like some people may say that that's like a sign from God or something like that, but and I'm not really religious, but I would say I'm definitely spiritual. But in that moment, I was just awestruck. It was truly something I think I can never or will ever truly forget because it was just an amazing sight. And then in that moment, I was like, wow, this is just so beautiful. I I think I could just continue. Like if this is what just a simple sunrise can do for me, I there's no way I could just end it. And then I just put the little book away and then walked down from where I was and then I just walked all the way back home and felt a little better about myself. And it felt really good. And yeah, like leading up to that point, I was in such a just at such a bad point where I just felt numb to everything. Like I even forgot what happiness was for a moment, or what joy or sadness or anything. I just forgot how to emote. I just forgot emotions. Like I just didn't understand it. for just a little while, and then that just led me to this such a an almost finality. And it's something that I look back on now. I'm like, I never want to go back to that point ever again. And I remember talking to some people and some friends, try like about that experience. I remember talking to family with that, and they were like really understandable and supportive and everything, and they were glad that I didn't do it. And I remember talking to my some of my friends, and they were like, "Oh shit, wow, that's terrible. Like, I wish you would talk to me." But when you're living in a different country, there's especially one in several time zones away. It's not exactly easy to talk to friends or family back back in your original country. But I definitely remember one friend that I was gonna talk to and just kind of explain myself something, just my experience, and I just started off with, well, I mean, I was really depressed. I was just telling him, we are talking about like just bad times and all that, and I was gonna tell him about like, oh, at one time I was really depressed. And before I even finished, or before I even really started, he just scoffed and went like, huh, you don't know real depression. And that really rubbed me the wrong way. I mean, it just, like, in that moment, I was just like, what? I was really confused. Like, wait, this guy is supposed to be my friend. I thought you're supposed to listen and try and understand. That's like what friends do, right? And then I was just so baffled that I just stopped. And then my mood on him just shifted and everything. And I'm like, who is this guy to just dismiss someone else's, just someone else like that? And it was at that point I was just like, I don't really consider him a friend anymore. And that was something, and I still don't consider him a friend now. More of a strange guy, right? Who's on the periphery. But like, I know that this is a heavy topic. I know that for sure. But I know that there's probably lots of people out there who are feeling these very self-defeating thoughts, right? Oh, by the way, don't ignore that. That's just from my cat. That little cut. That's not me, by the way. I have to to be clear about that. That's not me. That's not my doing. But I know it's a heavy topic, and I know that a lot of people are probably going through something similar. And if you are contemplating just ending it all, well, I'm not saying get this and read through it, but it's hard. I don't think it gets any easier. Well, at least at times, I don't think it gets easier, but then it does get. You start to figure things out. You start to pull together, and like you might just be one beautiful sunrise away from just turning everything about, or whatever else, right? But it's not worth it. Just it's hard. It's hard. I mean, even now it's just hard to talk about. It's not an easy thing to talk about. I mean, it took me so long to even try and put this to a video. Like I never even contemplated about this, telling this to other people outside of family and friends until just this recent event in my life where I just shattered because like you never really expect some like this violence from someone you trust, right? And it's someone I can trust no longer. And when it's like events like that, it's just earth shattering at times. But like just picked this. It's like strange where I had no idea where this was for the longest time, and then and I was searching for it, and it's probably just this weird coincidence or synchronicity or whatever. I don't know what to call it, but after this event unfolded in my life, I just found this again, and I read through a little bit, and it kind of helped shape things into perspective once more. And that's why I'm putting it up on the sayings on the YouTube shorts, right? Maybe someone can get something out of that. I don't know, but I hope someone gets something out of this because it's done something for me. I'm not sure if this is the thing that you need for that, but if you do, uh, I'll put it up on my review, right? Just like where you can get like where it is, but you can easily get it. It is a bit pricey for the size. However, I this has done a lot for me. It's it's done a lot for me, much more than this stoic philosophy like Marcus Aurelius and all that. You get that stoic stuff all the time, and I don't know. Maybe this is a little bit of stoicism, but this has done much more help than say uh, the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius or anything like that. And maybe this won't work for you. Maybe the Meditations will work for you. Maybe it's Taoism. Like well, I've forgotten his name, but I'll be sure to put it up.
You're only making a mess by trying to put things straight. You're trying to straighten out a wiggly world, and no wonder you're in trouble. So you can't do anything. So you can't transform yourself. And what can you do? What happens then if you actually realize you've come to a dead end? And the human race has come to a dead end, in my opinion. What then? Commit suicide? Or is there something else?
It's something, again, it just helped me. If you think it would help you from, if you like this little pocket thing, which sometimes, which is very convenient. I like it. I think it would work, It's, just keep it on hand, especially if you don't have a phone or something. You just put it in your pocket, forget it, maybe, well, not forget it, but maybe if you're feeling a little bit off, or there's something that's just happened in your life or something, just open it up, go to just a page or something, and then just read it. Just sit down, read it, contemplate it, and try and just absorb what you read. And I just hope this does well. I mean, no, that's not the right word. It's not the right thing to say. I just, if you are going through something similar to that I have, or have gone through it, just know that there's so many people that are going through the same thing, or something similar anyway. And it may not be exactly the same, and you definitely can't just get over it. It's something that just takes time, and it's just this messy puzzle that you have to figure out. And unfortunately, some people might never figure it out. And I really hope that isn't you, whoever's watching, if you're watching at all. That's assuming I even publish this. But yeah. I do recommend it. The Art of Peace.